What's going on? I'm going to bring y'all another case of injustice, of mass incarceration here in Chicago. Literally, just last week, 18 people cases were overturned. Now we got another 2 cases overturned. Chicago has some of the crookedest cops on the planet. I want to bring y'all the story, especially because I just did a story on Jesse Lee Peterson and Robert Perkins. Jesse Lee Peterson is one of those right-wing conservatives. He's black. He doesn't think he's black. Hates blacks, I think, and this is my personal opinion. And he thinks that he's asking a question. Well, if blacks wasn't committing crime, they wouldn't be going to jail. Would they not be going to jail if they wasn't committing crime? He thinks that blacks are just out here committing just rape and murder and just killing everybody and robbing, stealing just because they're just crazy. He literally thinks that. Here's a perfect proof. 20 men within 7 days exonerated in one freaking city. Innocent. Life sentences for every black man you're going to watch. These men, and after 20 years, that's when we get justice. These men's lives are literally ruined. Now, some of them may get some type of lawsuit, but it won't be much. Some of these lawsuits are not even reaching $1 million. They're not, some of them, and they're doing 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I know a cat that didn't get no money. Innocent. Was a torture victim. John Bird's torture victim. This in Chicago is an epidemic. These cops need to be held accountable. None of them are getting in trouble. None of them are being held accountable for locking innocent black men up. This is a problem in the black community. I'm going to get to the story, and I'm going to come back to the black community with Why Is No Fathers. We just got 20 fathers. I don't know if they all had children, but I'm going to bring y'all literally. I'm going to try to bring y'all both cases. Now, this first case of these 2 is going to read rape, murder charges dropped against the 2 exonerated men in Chicago.
Convicted of a rape and murder they did not commit are officially free tonight after spending more than 2 decades behind bars. DNA evidence cleared Nevest, Coleman, and Derrell, Fulton, and the state's attorney dropped those charges today.
Eyewitness News reporter Will Jones talked to both of those men. Will is live in the media center tonight.
Kathy and Alan, it all ended when the judge said they were free to go, and that's when the celebration began for the 2 men with their families inside the courtroom, relatives shedding tears, knowing they're finally free. A 23-year wait in prison for this moment.
It's an indescribable feeling. The sun is shining, it's a beautiful day.
2 decades ago, a judge sentenced Nevest, Coleman and Derrell, Fulton to life in prison for the rape and murder of Antwinica Bridgeman. Today, their nightmare officially ended.
When he said everything been dropped, I was pleased with that.
Prosecutors telling a judge they would not retry the case, citing DNA evidence. The Cook County State's Attorney's Office saying in a statement, in light of all available evidence, it will not proceed with the retrial because it would be unable to meet its burden of proof. Attorneys for the men say their fight isn't over.
It's a terrible injustice that he had to wait 23 years for the day for the charges to be finally dismissed.
People need to be held accountable for taking away 23 years of someone's life. And so we will do what we always do, and we will hold those people accountable.
Fulton and Coleman walked out of prison last month.
Man, take your time, man. Rough. But now I got my family now, you know. I missed a lot of years. My son, my daughter, my 3 grandbabies, you know. I lost a lot.
So,
You hear that? His daughter, son, and he has 3 grandbabies now.
great time to be free. It's been a long time coming, and we're finally here now.
That's a blessing.
Readjusting to life as free men.
Just spend some time with my family and just enjoy this moment right now.
Can't be angry, you know. When you get angry, you're going to keep going backwards.
We're such a forgiving people, man. We really are.
So it's time to move forward.
Prosecutors say DNA found on the victim's clothing matched someone's profile in a national database. But even with that and other evidence, they say there is not enough there to support prosecution of that person or anyone else.
So, and look at this. Look at this. Related stories right here.
Watch your team at
Here go another man free to 29 years. Look at the date down here. This Friday, December 1st. That's the date. Look at the date on this. Mass exoneration. Convictions of 15 men tied to a tainted CPD officer overturned. Look at the date. Thursday, November 16th. This was a couple weeks ago. Literally. What are we doing out here in Chicago that so many innocent people? And look at this related story. State's attorney will vacate 18 convictions of 15 defendants.
Day of exonerations in Cook County history. Hi everyone, I'm Erin Kennedy.
Good morning, I'm Marissa Bailey, and this may not be the end. We are told more cases could be looked at. Let's get right to CBS 2's Mike Puccinelli at the Layton Criminal Court Building with more. Good morning, Mike.
Hi, they're men who all serve time for crimes they say they didn't commit. Now the county's top prosecutor agrees with them. 15 men who were sent to prison on drug charges today had their convictions dismissed. 10 of those newly exonerated former convicts showed up at Cook County Criminal Court Building today for the largest mass exoneration in Cook County history. All the men say they were framed by this man, former Chicago Police Sergeant Ronald Watts and his partners. They patrolled on the south side between 2003 and 2008. Watts and Officer Khalid Muhammad, seen here being taken into custody, were both sent to prison for stealing cash from a drug dealer who was actually working with the FBI at the time. Leonard Gibson was just 22 when he says he refused to pay Watts' so-called protection tax.
Wow, I hate these cops. And that's another thing in our communities, man. We got to even watch black cops. I know it's a black cop out this way. He's framing people, putting false charges, saying they hit him, giving them aggravated battery on a cop, giving felonies to young brothers, man. We got it bad against these cops, man. These crooked cops, man, have to go. And these crooked cops must pay the price, man. They got to get locked up, man. Here it is, man. This cat was only 22 years old.
He said Watts then planted heroin on him and placed him under arrest. That sent him to prison twice for lengthy stints behind bars.
So Watts always told me, if you're not going to pay me, I'm going to get you. And every time I ran into him, he put drugs on me. Every time.
What's never quite understood is that this stuff sticks with you. These convictions stick with you. You can't get the time back you served. You can't get, it affects your ability to get jobs, housing.
Your life is over after 20-something years. Not over, but damn. You lost your entire childhood. Now, these 15 men and the 18 convictions, do you think they're going to see any money? And even if they do, it comes out of the taxpayers. We are going to pay for this. Not those damn cops that did this shit. Not those cops. Mayor Rahm Emanuel's giving $100 million to these cops for training, so he says. For training facilities. They're saying, we're shooting black people. That's because we're not trained right. It's just we're not trained right. So we need to be trained right. Rahm Emanuel said, okay, we'll give you $100 million. This is bananas. Chicago, our politics, this is the most corrupt fucking city to live in.
One of the things that the state's attorney said during the campaign and has continued to say is that one of the priorities of this office and her administration, I think, is to restore trust between the criminal justice system and its actors and the citizens of Cook County.
Now, Tepfer says in all, 26 convictions spearheaded by Watts have been overturned so far, but he says Watts and his crew were involved in more than 500 different convictions, so he believes there are many, many more to come at this point, and they intend to plan to continue to investigate. As for Gibson, he says he feels like a newborn baby with his whole life to live. He says he now believes he can finally get a job.
Did y'all hear that? 500 possible convictions that this cop possibly have made up. 500, possibly 500 people innocent. Now, Jesse Lee Peterson want to yell, well, if blacks wasn't committing crimes, this is what I'm talking about. We're being targeted 10 times, 20 times more, framed 20 times more. Innocent people. Now, this is just out of the 17 people here. Imagine how many innocent people are in the Chicago prison systems. Imagine how many innocent black people around this country are sitting in life sentences for crimes they did not commit. If y'all seen the Khalif Browder story out of New York, make sure you watch that story. Understand about how being poor and not being able to afford a great attorney, these black people, and then also, you got to realize this, a lot of times the prosecutor will say, hey, you're facing 30 years. Just bow down to this misdemeanor, bow down to this felony, we'll just give you probation, we'll give you 1 year. If you fight it, we'll give you 100 years. And a lot of people just bow down to most of them charges. So this is another reason why they're getting so many convictions. A lot of people plead guilty and they're really innocent because they don't want to fight it. I got somebody, one of my homeboys right now, he's just going to bow down to the case because he know if he go to court, and it's against the crooked cops side of the story or his story, the judge is going to believe the cop. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. A lawyer, nothing. If the cop says, yeah, he did it, and you come say, no, I didn't, if you don't have it on video, you're screwed. You are screwed. I could bring y'all story after story after story. I didn't even do those 15, and it's 3 more stories on there. 3 more. I could do 3 more stories today alone. And it's going to be 3 more tomorrow. And this is an ongoing cycle. It's horrific. When Governor Ryan back in the late 90s, he overturned 24 death row inmates. He was a Republican, but he overturned 24 people who was on death row. Overturned their convictions. This was in the late 90s. That's not even counting the John Bird torture. This is bananas in Chicago. When will this end? When will these cops be held accountable? This is an ongoing cycle. Then they turn around and say, why don't black people trust cops? Oh, all cops are great cops. Innocent. They do no wrong. Jesse Lee Peterson, where you at? What do you think about this story? Jesse, where you at? Anyway, I want y'all to like, comment, let me know what you think about this video. Peace, peace, peace. I'm out.